Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity. How's it going, my squids? Today we're going to be talking about the Grand Pops himself, Chronos. This is one of the best gods in the game, not only because he's an old fucking man, well, he's got an old man skin, but he is the father of time, boys. He just straight up just can reverse your life cycle, alright? I mean that. He can make you disappear like that. He takes a little bit of adjusting too, but once you actually get it down, you will tear it up and just destroy anybody realistically. So this is my boy Steve's build right here, which is what I like to call read a book, bitch, because that's pretty much what you're building here. You're just building all the damn books in the goddamn world. And well, mine is Book of the Thoth, because, you know, who builds Book of the Thoth in 2019? Lol. But we're just going to mainly talk about the 3 books here because the rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. You just build Bancroft for the lifesteal and big damage, and you build Rada Tahuti to beat that booty. That's pretty much it. But you build Polynomicon for some obvious reasons. If you're familiar with Chronos at all or unfamiliar, basically Chronos' kit is actually based around auto attacks. He gets a lot of attack speed buffs. He gets a lot of just crazy things that happens with his autos. So building Polynomicon gives you a lot of damage in terms of auto attacks. Having a buff, an innate buff, mind you, and then combining it with Polynomicon plus an attack speed buff that you also innately get with an ability, you pretty much can't go wrong with this item. You really can't. Considering that all of my builds are frag out builds just for, you know, kills and damage and whatnot, this is pretty much the item that I like, that I will run all the fucking time. Now, Book of the Dead is an interesting more topic because it's not necessarily about damage, it's more about your ultimate. Some of you guys might be a little confused about that statement because Chronos' ultimate technically does no damage, but here's why it's important. Chronos' ultimate actually takes a good amount of time to get going, so you have to be aware that whenever you use it, if you use it too late or maybe too early, or if you use it too early, it's better to use it early than late, but if you use it too late, then you might die during the actual animation of your ultimate, and that's one of the things that you will run into as a Chronos player because you'll be like, oh fuck man, I wish my ultimate was insta-cast or whatever, and it's pretty ass because it happens way more often than it should, to where you're dying during the animation of your ultimate. So what Book of the Dead initially does, it gives you a buffer in order to actually have a little bit of extra time to get your ultimate off. So if you drop below 40% health, you gain a shield equal to 20% of your maximum mana. So that's huge because your mana pool is pretty decently sized, and some of these items are also built around mana. So what you're essentially doing with this build is giving your ultimate some leg room to actually work with. And then aside from that, we go into Soul Reaver for just the big damage. There's nothing really special about this item, it's just huge damage realistically, plus the mana to help with the shield, so it just kind of ties into everything. As for his passive, this is a pretty simple one. Basically, the longer the game goes on, every 2 minutes he gains a stack that increases his magical power, and it goes up to 25 stacks. So it's a pretty nice passive, but it all depends. I don't think it really gives a huge buff, especially if the games end early. Like if you play Arena or you play Clash or whatever, you might find less use out of this, so it's whatever. As for his actual first ability is Time Rift, which is just this kind of long startup wind up move. It's really ass. I mean, it's not ass, it does a lot of damage, it's just you have to combo it with your 3. So basically, you know, as you guys saw right there, it takes a little bit for that move to go. So if you mistime it wrong, you're gonna miss it. So you have to be able to predict it, and then you'll be able to hit it more often, or just combo it into this and then you'll get it for free, because that's just kind of how it works. But if you want to use it raw, then you're just gonna have to predict it. That's what she said. I'm not sure if that statement works there. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Fuck it. Moving on to a second ability, which is Accelerate. Now, this is a more interesting and complicated ability because there's a lot of reading to do here. So, basically, your second ability is tied to that shitty stopwatch right there. So, you've got 4 different little timer things and that you're going to want to look at. And over here, the sections is what exactly they do. So, the first one is you heal 1.5% max health per second, which is ass. I would never use that. Maybe in some weird fantasy land that makes sense. Maybe you use this, but honestly, I would rather be at 1 HP than use this fucking section. So that's just, you know, maybe I'm just stubborn and crazy, but I'm gonna try and murder you before you murder me with 1 HP. So hey, it is what it is, dog. Now for the second section, this is where things get a little bit more amped up because you get a full 100% mana refund on abilities. So basically, if you time this right and you can get the stopwatch on there, you just go full ape shit and you just start fucking just headbutt the control and just do whatever the hell you want. You just do it. Honestly, it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna be as cooldown as this, because I've got the crazy reduced cooldowns on and whatnot for the jungle practice, but you get the idea. And then for the last 2 sections, you're going to have 25% magical power to abilities, and then the 4th one is 35% magical power contribution to basic attacks. So whenever you land on this one, you're going to get, you know, a damage buff on your abilities, and I overshot that, fuck me. So if you want to just poke and do a lot of damage real quick, and you're not looking to, you know, commit to a fight, you do that and then just run away, and maybe you think you don't have the damage or whatever, which realistically you have the damage. If you land that shit, then you might as well commit to the fight, because you'll probably kill him. And then if you want to just go full fucking just auto attack damage, you do what you do, your burst from your combo, and then you chase them down with auto attacks, and then they're gonna die. The good news about your 3rd ability is that it allows you to just fucking auto, like you get like 2 autos by the time it procs off, so it's great. Then you move on over to the 3rd ability, which I've already kind of explained, but just to kind of go a little bit more into detail, you've got your initial hit, which will do a lot of damage, and then it procs again, which does a nice bit of secondary damage. So initial hit, right, 1, and then another bit of damage. So it's like 1 second, and then it just, you know, it stuns them, and then it does another tick of damage, which is just huge. Now for your ultimate, this is where things get a little shitty. So as you guys can see, I'm going to show you guys right now. That entire first section where I'm like raising my arms and shit, that is, you are completely vulnerable during that animation. So which is why Book of the Dead is super good, and it just kind of gives you that extra buffer in order to get out of bad situations and ult back. Now once you use your ultimate, it actually does refund your cooldowns fully, and it refunds your health and mana to where you know, land back a couple seconds ago. So you have to keep track of where you were a couple seconds ago. So if you ult and you're at like 5 HP and you ult back to 5 HP, I mean, you're not going to get anything off of it. You're going to get your refunds on your cooldowns, but other than that, you're going to have to fucking deal with that still. So just to kind of show off the damage here, I'm just going to just auto this guy to death and just, you know, fucking show you guys what the business is. As you guys can see, nobody can fight you. Nobody can fight you. If you do the auto attack buff, just they better have some kind of crit or something, because you're going to murder the shit out of them. And then as for the ability damage, you're going to see this, and then pop this off, and then boom, fucking, what are we talking about here? How did you just die? So there's not much to really talk about anymore. It's just going to come down to how often you practice. Chronos does take a little bit to get used to, because most of his stuff is skill shots and auto attack based, so you have to kind of have a little bit of aim to make him work. So just practice it up and you'll be good to go. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.